Hi friends, I'm continuing my Me Too video series in conjunction with Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So if you want to see some of my photo series, you can go to carolrecord.com, and my portfolio has a Me Too section. So today I want to take a look at this image, which I call Strange Relationship. So this is an image, this is me cut out, in this photo series. These are silver gelatin laptopograms, so it's a darkroom process made using, I digitally put together digital negatives and composited things and add, some things I collaged, some things I removed, and then used a laptop screen basically as an exposure unit for the paper before developing. And that kind of process of like reworking these images to make them my own. Digitally, which is feels very natural for me, and then um, you know transforming them into physical objects using my hands helped me feel like it was kind of like a cathartic exercise to sort of like release some of this like pain and stuff from the past. But so this image, which I think was probably taken around the time I was 13 because I'm smaller, and I know that I had long hair in this image, and I didn't keep my long hair very long. This was taken in a field behind our house in Aniana, some woods that I used to go play in. And the text reads, "Separated because of fighting. Mother has had suspicions and has asked me about the strange relationship Dan had with me, 13 years old. First told a friend about Dan. Told me never to write anything down and never to admit to anything." So these notes are taken from um, extra notes that were part of my police report. Like there was so much, it did not all fit on the police report, so they had to use paper and stuff. And some of this stuff, it's like mother has had suspicions and has asked me about the strange relationship Dan had with me. I don't remember her actually having any suspicions at all or asking me about this, so I don't know what this is about. But a lot of time has passed, so maybe I don't remember, because I don't think anybody knew, despite the fact that there were probably like a lot of signs that something was going on. I think most people, like Dan, favored me. Like he would give me gifts and let me like do what I wanted, basically. Um, and my family was aware of that and gave me a hard time for that. Um, but I don't think they actually suspected anything. Uh, when I came out, I first told a friend about Dan, and I'll do another video later talking about um, why I came out and how that went down. But the part I want to talk about today is he told me never to write anything down and never to admit to anything. So, yeah, he was trying to keep me from creating any sort of records that would hurt anything. Thankfully, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm my father's daughter. My father, like, documents everything. And so, like, I grew up kind of seeing that, and like I wouldn't journal consistently, though I do have a lot of journals from this time, and I don't remember what I wrote down in my journal. Partly because I wrote most of my journals in code, and I only recently found the key to the code. Like I used to be able to read it and write it without needing a reference, but it's been so long now. It's like, okay, I need a reference to it. But one thing I did do for many many years was I kept a very detailed calendar, and I would write in code like just a little note about like when something would happen, at least most of the time, and stuff like that. And so because of that, that really helped our court case when we went to court. Um, and I'm hoping that as I go back through my records, I'm actually hoping to reopen my case, but I'm still trying to gather like documents from all the different sources and stuff. And funny enough, turns out that the police station where like these reports and this notes came from, they can't find any of the case files. And so we're wondering, there's one agency I'm going to check with to see if like maybe they might have the case files. They shouldn't have it, but maybe they have it. but there's part of me that just totally just assumes that my ex stepfather probably bribed someone to try and destroy him, because he did stuff like that all the time. He forged legal paperwork. I had to go in and do a video testimonial one day because he had forged um, legal paperwork in Florida with my name on it. And what it was it was like supposedly me redacting like my statement about what had happened. Dude didn't even get my name right on it, but I still had to go and through the process of, you know, being like, this wasn't me, and here's why it wasn't me, and well, I wasn't in Florida, and all that stuff. But yeah, this guy was crazy, but they never write anything down. And since I have this pulled up and I've got my website pulled up, let me just pull up this image. So this image is me probably around 15, so towards the end of the period of me being raped when I finally came out. And this journal page or planner page that is composited on top of it is from the first night he raped me. So the first night he raped me, I wrote nightmare about died. And I think he actually came home on Friday night. Like technically, I think like the event overlapped Friday and Saturday. And when we took my stepfather to court, we took him to court on 2 counts that we had like the most evidence for. Because I mean, I had so much stuff. I mean, we could have taken him for more, but we're like, well, let's take him to court on these 2. We've got the most evidence for these. And this was one of them. But this count, we did not get a guilty charge on him for, because the date was off by 1 day. And I don't remember exactly which day it was that they said in court, but I bet that they went with the 11th and we should have gone with the 10th. But this is how freaking stupid it is. Like, from the notes in the story, it would have been obvious that he came home on a Friday and that the event ended on a Saturday. You know, like it's the same freaking day, guys. I mean, it's basically, but because the paperwork or whatever like said that it was, you know, whatever, you know, like it got thrown out. I mean, the other complication was, so this is Dan and mom leaving for a trip. So the other complication was, I remembered that he raped me the day before he went on a cruise, because him and my mom went on a Caribbean cruise like a day or 2 after he raped me. But the day after he raped me, which was probably on this Saturday, he went on a freaking like river or lake cruise with like his sister or whatever. So technically it still was the day before a cruise. But you know, it was confusing and like legal language and stuff. It's so stupid. It makes me so mad how like that little bit of a very understandable thing could cause us to like lose this count. So yeah, I'm very glad that I wrote things down, and hopefully in the coming weeks I'm going to start going through all of my old planners and journals and stuff, and trying to put together like, you know, a stronger timeline and all of the relevant notes that I have in order to see if we can bring this thing back up, but also for myself, because for myself as um, you know, survivor of this, one of the things I have found most helpful for me to process this is to put it all back together like a puzzle. Because this was a very traumatic experience, like my brain turned off a lot. Like literally, if I didn't feel like I was threatened, it's like I completely forgot that he was raping me. And then we would be alone and I would feel threatened, I would remember. And not only would, you know, like I remember, but I mean just some of the other things, it's like a lot of times like during the actual act itself I would disassociate. Like most of the time I would try and put a pillow over my face and pretend that I wasn't there. There were definitely times where I felt like I was outside my body. Like the very first time he raped me, like the way I remember a lot of it is from like a position in the air in the room. Um, like I remember the first part of it, like from first person, and then like the actual act after that, it's like my consciousness like just fled from my freaking body in order to disassociate or something. Which that's a very interesting part of trauma that I've been learning more about this past year, but I'm still figuring that out. But my brain and everything like tried to do all kinds of things to protect me and help me, including like forgetting about stuff. So like after this first time he raped me, um, I have a couple of memories from the next few days, but I basically lost over a week of my life. Like it was complete blackout because I was in such shock. So uh, yeah, I'm glad that I wrote things down and that I didn't listen to him about everything. Like, like there are definitely some things that he scared me into doing or not doing, but at least I still like made notes and stuff. And I'm very proud of young me for doing that. So thank you, young me.